on, man? This is Todd from Fort Wayne, Indiana. How you doing?
I'm good, Todd. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Hey, just enjoying the show tonight, and kind of piggybacking off what some of the other callers have mentioned. My personal belief is with Matt Weiss is I think he was specifically hired by Michigan to do what he was doing.
Mm,
And he was using, I think he was hired to run the scheme to try to access university records, medical records, player records, playbooks, videos, or whatever. And then I think the girl thing on the side, I think he was kind of doing that on his own. And then this whole thing blew up and it's dragged the whole university into it. And I think it all ties in with Connor Stallions. I think all that stuff ties in. He was kind of like the intel guy. He was the guy on the internet. He's trying to get passwords. He's trying to get login information. You know, a lot of the stuff going on, like on 11 Warriors, with the Brohio and Premier Drum and those guys on 11 Warriors that tend to know quite a bit of stuff. Like it seems like this stuff's all kind of tying in together, and that's what I think. I think Weiss, having worked for exclusively for the Harbaughs basically his entire adult life, from Stanford to the Ravens to Michigan, I think that guy. I think he was some sort of like, if you kind of remember what the Cardinals were doing in baseball with the Astros, they had those interns that were hacking into the Astros player database, and they were looking for records on the players so they could try to concoct trades and try to basically steal from the Astros. They all went to federal prison. And I kind of think it's like, man, maybe Weiss is kind of the same thing. Like he was kind of like, we got this Marine intelligence guy and he's sending people around the country, and we can get Matt in here, and with Matt's computer savviness and technology, his ability to get into computers and do that type of thing. Like if they could find a way to put those all together and make it work, bam. I mean, look at how good they got that 3-year stretch. They were almost unbeatable. And when did you ever see that? Harbaugh couldn't even beat Mel Tucker. Like at Michigan State, he lost the first 2 out of 3 against Mel Tucker. And it's just like, how the hell did they get so good? Well, you got Connor Stallions sending people around the country, getting video on all these players. Then you got Matt Weiss, who's sitting in the shadows in Schembechler Hall, and he's key logging, he's keystroking, he's doing all this stuff. He's trying to get in all these different athletic sites. Like, there's people saying that he accessed Ohio State video at the Woody Hayes, that he accessed Ohio State players' medical records. And then obviously, if you have all of that information, plus you have the signs, you have all that thing, man, no wonder they beat us 4 years in a row. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking, could be the whole catalyst of this whole thing. And then the nuclear bomb that could drop on Michigan once this is all said and done is if they can prove, and I think they already know the answer to this. I think everybody already knows the answer. I think they knew he was already in trouble, and they let him stay on, and they let him keep his job to get through that playoff run in 22. And
mm-hmm.
then once the playoff run, once they lost to TCU, they cut ties the next week or whatever it was. But I think if they come out and say, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, Ward Manuel, they knew that he was already investigated and in trouble for this stuff. Wow. I mean, I can't even imagine what the NCAA and even the feds could end up doing to everybody, because they're all sweating. They are all sweating this whole thing, and I think it's just gonna get worse. I think it's gonna get really, really bad. And originally, it's kind of like you. Like, I didn't think, like, I kind of like, they're not gonna do like the sign stealing thing. Like, they're gonna take some scallies away. They're gonna fine them. They might end up sacrificing Sharon Moore to the football gods to kind of make things go away. But I didn't really think anything major was going to probably happen. But this stuff, it's like, holy crap. This is like a whole nother level of, this is, yeah, like Penn State level. And it's going to drag the whole university. It's going to get everybody in the athletic department. It's going to get their cybersecurity staff. It's going to get the president of the university. It's going to get everybody. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking.
Todd, love the tinfoil hat stuff. Trust me, I love to put on a tinfoil hat in college football. It's kind of my jam. I don't know how far off you are. That's the thing. I don't know how tinfoily this is. Like, this is some next level stuff. And the last caller that just called in, David, he mentioned Matt was at Baltimore with
Yeah.
the other Harbaugh brother. So
Yep.
Jim might have known that this was what he did and brought him on anyways.
Yeah.
And one of the classic things to do is blame your enemy for doing the very thing you're doing, right? We see it in politics all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And if you recall, and someone in the chat brought it up, the natural. If you remember, Harbaugh on a Big Ten call was blaming Ryan Day of doing illegal stuff on a Big Ten call. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Look at
I
everything
remember.
he was doing. This is some crazy stuff, man. And I'm like you, Todd. I've kind of done a 180 on what's going to happen here. At this point, I think the NCAA is going to have to do a major punishment. It's going to have to be major. This is getting to the point where it's you can't do a slap on the wrist here, guys. It's beyond that. It's kind of like the parent who refuses to punish their child. They're a spoiled brat when they're a kid. They refuse to punish their child, and then all of a sudden you wonder how in the world your child's hooked on heroin on the corner. Like, you never discipline the child. You spare the rod, spoil the child, right? And the child grows up to be a complete, like, this is why I'm so upset that the Michigan fans aren't holding their university responsible here. And on top of that, I want to say this, Todd, real fast, and then I'll let you respond. One of the other reasons why this would never happen at Ohio State to this degree is because the media, although they're not allowed to ask certain questions during press conferences, the media at Ohio State, the beat, is not bought and paid for. They will report on Ohio State. The media in Ann Arbor is literally bought and paid for by the university.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, I mean, Ohio State media won't hesitate to drag. I mean, we saw it before the playoff run started. They were dragging Day up and down the field, from field goal to field goal, and it was merciless. And with Michigan, it's so completely different. They've got that blue wall that's built around the state. And I think it's only the Free Press, I think, is the only one I've actually read anything from that will talk about anything negative when it comes to Michigan. But it's just, in people like, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh had 2 predators on his staff.
That's right.
He had Weiss, and he had Alex Ude, the other Michigan football staffer that was trying to meet minors at Walmart in Ann Arbor. And it's just like, And then you had Connor Stallions. I mean, a literal psychopath. I mean, the dude was. You had an entire football staff full of absolute lunatics. Lunatics.
And
And
Harbaugh
you
has
had
the
the
gall.
the drunken driving.
Yeah. Harbaugh
Yeah,
has
I
the
mean, it's
gall
just
to stand
those
behind a
guys.
pulpit, Todd, stand behind a podium, and when he's across the country in Los Angeles, and when asked about these allegations, and say he's never cheated, lied, or stole, and that's what he preached to his team. Are you kidding me? What a hypocrite! It's unbelievable,
he's
man.
Yeah, he's a piece of crap, just like that entire football program and most of the fan base, man. It's just like, Urban Meyer broke Jim Harbaugh in so many ways that he just drove him crazy, and it was just like he literally was willing to do anything to try to win a football game. And it's just it's beyond the pale of anything that makes any sense, because I sit and I read this stuff on 11 Warriors and stuff I see on X, and it's just like, man, oh man, it's like, if it, there's a lot of people like Buckeye Scoop, a lot of people don't find Buckeye Scoop too reputable, but the stuff that they bring up on X, about having all the practice video. They said they had practice video of Ohio State playing on the TVs at Schembechler Hall, and it's like, how the heck? Like, again, Matt Weiss, he's got keystroke loggers going, and he's figuring out passwords, like, and it's not real hard to figure out passwords if you know how to do that type of thing. You can do it. The company I work for, our cybersecurity guy, that he just took another job, but he worked for the FBI for a number of years, and he said, give me 5 minutes with you, and I'll go to your desk and we'll talk, and I'll guarantee by the end of the day I'm gonna have all your passwords figured out. I'm gonna know your email login. And he says, all I need to know is what your favorite team is, what your favorite color is, just little information like that, and I could crack just about any password. And it's just like, I'm just like, how the heck, man? Like, he's good at it. He's
Yeah.
good at it. He could figure it out, and and who knows what all kind. And like, how does he have that kind of stuff on the school? See, that's another thing that's getting Michigan in serious trouble. Is he had all those like programs to crack passwords on his Michigan devices, and like, you cannot just install stuff like that. Like, you can't install. You can barely install anything on a company device
No kidding,
without
right?
permission from
Right?
the IT department.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good
So
point. That is a very good point. I know that firsthand. Yes. I get tech support calls all the time because I work for a safety and software company, and I do a lot of tech support calls and with government agencies, and I literally have to speak to the this tech department in those agencies because a regular employee cannot install my software on their computer.
mm-hmm.
It's 100% true.
Yep.
And these
Yep.
universities are going to have a lot more in place than
Oh yeah.
a small county engineering company.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. You're dealing with 30,000 students that are 18 to 22 years old, and on top of the faculty and all the other support staff and all that, man, they got to have ironclad internet security at a major university like that.
Yeah.
So, Weiss installing all these rogue programs on his devices to be able to crack passwords and all that stuff and store all of this stuff. Like, he's storing all this stuff on these devices. And it's like, how is there no red flags? Like, IT guy got, saying, hey, Matt in the football program's got a lot of weird activity going on his devices. Maybe, has anybody ever check to see what's going on? They just shut it up. Like, nobody's going to talk about it. Matt's doing what Matt's doing. we're winning football games. Let's just keep it quiet, and yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people. It's gonna be a lot. And they just finished, I think, paying off that the trainer or whatever it was that was molesting all the athletes back in like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
That's like $500 million. And I think they just finished paying those lawsuits off. Now they're going to get another one. It's like they're going to run out of money. Like, how are they even going to be able to pay another massive lawsuit like this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Crazy.